Hey, today on Filipino Cook we are going to the country of the Philippines and making chicken adobo. Hey, thanks for stopping by and coming back to Filipino Cook. If it's your first time, hit the subscribe, like, leave some comments, let me know what you want to see, and I'll see what I can do. Today, we're going to the Philippines. We're making chicken adobo, which I absolutely love. I think it's an amazing recipe that I could literally eat every day. So let's get started. So what I have is 4 boneless skin-on chicken thighs here in this bag because we got to marinate our chicken. So I have just some regular old Kikkoman soy sauce, which I'm sure is very familiar to all of you. And we're going to add a half a cup of that, or 2 quarter cups, whichever you want to do. And then we have some vinegar. Now this is Filipino vinegar. It's a little bit different than regular white vinegar that you would find here in the States. It's a little sweeter, it's a little smoother if you taste it plain compared to regular distilled white vinegar. It's a little bit smoother, it doesn't give you that super zip that makes you pucker up. We're going to do 2/3 of a cup of this, and then we got 2 teaspoons of white pepper, or you can use black pepper, whichever you want. I like white pepper, so I'm going to use that. And we're going to take that in our little Ziploc bag here and mix this up like so. Now this I'm going to let marinate. I personally like marinating things overnight, but you can just do, say, 20-30 minutes, an hour. You don't have to go overnight. That's just the way that I like doing things. So what we're going to do with a little bit of magic is, oh my god, marinated chicken for 24 hours. So we have this here. What we're going to do, however, to start with, is we're going to start sauteing some onions. And you'll see that some recipes don't call for onions. And when I started searching for recipes for this, I found that some do, some don't. I do like the onions. I think it gives it a nice layer of a little sweet flavor. So we're going to put a little bit of oil in our pan here, and we are going to saute some onions. Now I have here 1 medium-sized white onion. You can use red onion if you want. You can completely negate the onion and not use it at all. But I like to use white onion, and 1 medium-sized, maybe 2 cups-ish, just julienne. We're going to put them in our pan, saute them up till they're a little bit soft. Let these cook down a little bit till they soften up, kind of get those sugars coming out of the onion. Not super long. And you can, if you do use onion, you can caramelize them as long as you want. If you want them to be like French onions that are super brown and caramelized, it's up to you. I just like to kind of wilt them a little bit, cook them down a little bit so they soften up some, start to get those natural sugars out of there. And I'm also going to add, to help that along a bit, I have a tablespoon of palm sugar, and you can use white sugar if you want. I like the depth that palm sugar has. I absolutely love the depth that palm sugar has. I think it's an amazing flavor. Now our onions have cooked down a little bit for about 5 minutes, and they're starting to change color right where I want them to be. So now I'm going to add in, I have 6 cloves of garlic here, and that may sound like a lot, but when you cook it and everything mixes together, it's absolutely amazing. So this is just kind of thinly sliced. You don't have to chop it up really thin or dice it really small or anything like that. It's going to cook down when you put everything together. So we want to put that in here, cook for a couple minutes more, just to get that garlic flavor into the onions. As you can see, they've started to change a little bit, darken up some. Our garlic has a nice little brown color on it, not too much, just a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just put this on a plate to sit aside. And you don't have to do this. If you want, you can leave it in the pan. You can leave it in the pan if you want and just kind of cook your chicken around it. But I just like to take it out so I have the whole pan to cook my chicken in. So I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit, or on high actually, because we want to get a nice sear on our chicken. And it smells so delicious already. I'm such a huge fan of vinegar. I love vinegar. Not apple cider vinegar, not flavored vinegars, but just vinegar in general. You know, growing up, my mom used to, when we had spinach, she would have two different kinds. One was cooked in butter and one was just spinach and vinegar. And that was by far my favorite. It was the most amazing thing. So I've grown up loving vinegar. So we're gonna get a pan, get it heated up. We're gonna add a little bit more oil. And then we're gonna take our chicken and add it to the pan, shake off what you can of the marinade, just so you don't steam it. You want to get a nice sear. Want to get a nice sear on that skin. So you want to add those in there. You also don't want to overcrowd your pan. So when whatever pan you decide to use, make sure that it can fit the amount of chicken that you're using in that. And then you're not overfilling and the heat drops too much and then you end up steaming your chicken instead of getting nice color on that skin. So we're going to take our marinade and just set that aside because we're going to use that. And you just want that to sit. Don't play with it, don't touch it, don't keep looking at it, let it cook. You want to get that nice brown color because that's another depth of flavor that you're going to have in the dish from that searing of the skin. You can tell the sound has dropped. It is quieter because your temperature is going to drop. So you want to get the pan to a nice high heat. So when you do put your chicken in there, it gives it a nice sear. So we're going to let this cook for a minute and get a nice brown color on that skin. Oh yeah, that looks nice. So we got the sear on there. What we're going to do is we're going to turn them over. And then you're going to take that marinade, add it right back in there, because that is just absolute lovely flavor. And then we're going to take our onions. We are just going to put those back, kind of lay them over the top like that. Now, I forgot to mention, when you're doing your onions, if they start to cook down too fast or your pan starts to get, you know, that sticky onioness, that stickiness on there, you can just put a little bit of water in there to kind of deglaze the bottom of the pan so you can cook them longer also if you want them to cook down more. So we have our onions on top there, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take some water, and this all totally also depends on the size of your pan, and we're going to add some water into this to bring it up just to where the skin kind of starts. So add a little bit of water in there, and I have 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. This is something that you can leave out if you want to. I just like that kind of another depth of flavor that fish sauce gives. We have a couple of bay leaves that we're going to throw in there. And then we have 2 Thai chilies, which you don't have to add. This isn't traditionally not a spicy dish. I like spicy and I like Thai chilies. So I'm going to put a couple of Thai chilies in there just to give it a little bit of heat that you would taste. So we're going to let this come back up, keep it on high. We're going to let this come back up to a simmer. And then we want to cover it, and we're going to leave this for about 15 minutes. Well, it's going to cook about 30 minutes, but we're going to leave it for 15, and then we're going to flip it over. Let's get our lid. So if you do have a pan with a lid, that would be preferable. I do not. This one did not. So I'm going to use my wok lid to put on here. It's come back up to a simmer now. I'm going to put this on. And then about 15 minutes from now, I'm going to flip it over. See you then. So we've been about 15 minutes now. And let's, ooh, so hot. So we're going to take this, we're going to flip it over just so we can give the other side a little bit of love. Because we want this to be tender. We just want this to be falling off the bone. And it is on its way. Let's take a look. It looks beautiful. So we're just going to flip this over. And we are going to let this cook for about another 15 minutes. So it's been about 40 minutes now. And let's take a look. And it looks amazing. As you can see, our sauce is thickened up to a nice gravy-ish type texture. So we're gonna take one of these. How about this one? We have some rice here. Lay it right on our rice. How about this one? Take that and put that one there. Now, if your sauce wasn't reduced to where you do want it, you can just take your chicken out of it, which actually we're going to do. Let's set this here. So, if it wasn't as reduced if you want, as you wanted to, just take your chicken out. You basically want the chicken just fork tender, so it'll just pull nice apart from the bone. And you could just turn the heat up, let your sauce reduce more until it's where you want it to be. So we're gonna take a little bit of that gravy, and we're just gonna pour that right on the top. Maybe a little bit more. Right over our rice. Oh my God, making so much noise. Right over our rice. And there you have it. Chicken adobo from the Philippines. If you like this, subscribe, like. You can check out my IG also, Falang Cook Station, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.